Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going deep, really deep. We're looking at some sources that, well, they could genuinely reframe how you see everything, your whole place in the universe, really. We're hitting on concepts like quantum jumping, orchestration synchronicity,
Yeah.
things like that, and why your own perception might just be the most powerful, creative thing you have. This isn't just theory, okay? It's about a huge shift sort of happening deep down right now. Get ready for some serious aha moments because we're going to really try and examine every angle here.
Indeed. And our main source today, this Quantum Reflex YouTube channel, plus some other stuff we looked at, it paints a really compelling picture. It really challenges how we normally think about reality. We'll be digging into how these quantum ideas, which sound complex, aren't just for scientists. They're actually, for a lot of people, becoming personal experiences. Happening right now. Our job today, is to connect those dots between what you might experience every day and this bigger, intricate picture of reality creation. We'll try to be thorough.
Okay, let's really get into this core idea first. The sources hit us straight away with something fascinating. Oh, it's backwards. They say the key to quantum jumping isn't something you need to find or develop or earn. It's something that activates when your consciousness reaches a specific frequency threshold. But here's the real twist, the part that got me. It's not about moving between realities like teleporting somewhere else. It's more about recognizing which reality you're already choosing to observe every moment. That's a massive shift, isn't it? It totally flips the script on changing your life. Suggests we're looking outside when the power's actually inside, in our perception.
That distinction is absolutely key. It changes the whole paradigm. Instead of seeing ourselves as, passive victims of circumstance, the core idea here is that we're active participants. Massively active. Think of it like this, maybe. There are infinite versions of you already existing across infinite potential realities or probability fields. The you right now listening to us. That's simply the version that's learned somehow to navigate between these quantum states, whether you know you're doing it or not. Now, this connects, conceptually at least, to the observer effect in quantum physics. In science, that basically means observing a quantum system can change its outcome. A particle behaves differently when measured. Our sources take that core scientific idea and, well, they expand on it quite a bit. They suggest that your consciousness, as the observer, is constantly collapsing infinite possibilities into the specific reality you experience.
So it's like a constant choosing.
In a way, yes. Though it's important to note, this is an interpretation our sources offer, extending the physics concept into personal experience. It's a powerful metaphor for our role. So, quantum jumping isn't some sci-fi leap to another dimension. It's more like a sudden realization, a leap in understanding that just completely changes how you experience everything. You're not, inventing new possibilities from nothing. You're just selecting from this huge menu of possibilities that are already there in the quantum field, just waiting for a conscious observer to, tune in.
That TV analogy really clicks then. Infinite channels, all broadcasting right now. You're not making the shows, you're just holding the remote. You're the tuner. And this deep dive is saying you control that tuner.
Yeah.
The show you watch depends on your frequency. Puts you right in the driver's seat, doesn't it? You're not pushing some heavy rock uphill to change things. You're just flicking the channel.
But okay, if it's that simple, why do so many of us feel stuck watching the same reruns of struggle or limitation? That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And the sources suggest it's not necessarily about slow, gradual spiritual growth or earning it. It's about recognition, a moment of insight. And these moments, they say, happen in quantum leaps of understanding, not step by step. The person who quantum jumps isn't necessarily, more worthy or enlightened in the traditional sense. They just recognize their role. They see they're the observer collapsing potential into reality, while those feeling stuck are still operating under the assumption that reality is happening to them.
So it's a belief thing, a conditioning thing.
Largely, yes. Deep-seated conditioning. What the sources call a kind of collective hypnosis that makes us feel separate and subject to our environment. Our sense of self, built on past stuff, on beliefs, acts like this really strong filter. It just stops us from even seeing all the other channels available. 1.2, the observer mirror. Reality reflects your inner self.
Okay, so if we're tuning in, what's actually guiding the dial? What makes us pick one channel over another? Our sources bring in this idea of the observer mirror. And he basically say, reality is a mirror of self-perception, which means how you see yourself isn't just some private thought inside your head. It's the actual film that's being projected onto the screen of your life, your experience. That implies this really close, symbiotic link between your inner world and the outer world. One reflects the other directly. undeniably. If you want a different movie, you've got to change the projector inside. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And this idea of reality as a mirror, well, it finds echoes in modern research, even if the interpretation here is specific to our sources.
Mm.
Think about Dr. Joe Dispenza's work. He's documented how changing your self-perception, through medication, for instance, can literally rewire your brain in minutes. And these brain changes affect your body's electromagnetic field, which can then influence things around you, even how people react to you.
Wow. Okay. So internal changes have measurable external effects.
Right. And then you have someone like Dr. Stuart Hameroff, a quantum biologist. He's proposed that consciousness works through quantum processes in tiny structures in our brain cells called microtubules. And these processes create specific quantum coherence patterns that literally organize reality at the subatomic level. Now, again, that's a scientific hypothesis. But our sources take inspiration from ideas like these. They suggest your consciousness is the fundamental force, constantly creating reality through how you observe yourself. Consciously or not, it's like a feedback loop. Imagine a dancer using a mirror.
To check their moves, adjust their posture.
Precisely. Reality is constantly showing you the moves of your consciousness, allowing you to adjust, to express yourself more authentically, maybe more beautifully. That's why trying to change the outside stuff first, without shifting your inner self-perception, often doesn't work. You're just trying to rearrange the reflections without changing what's causing them.
Okay, and this is where it gets really, really interesting. According to the source, less than 2% of the human population is currently conscious of their role as reality creators through self-perception. Less than 2%. That suggests this is an incredibly rare level of awareness, not just understanding it intellectually, but like living it, experiencing reality that way.
Yeah.
It suggests most of us are on autopilot, right? The tuner's just running on subconscious programs.
That's exactly the implication. Most people live their lives thinking they're just reacting to things, totally unaware that those circumstances are, in fact, perfect reflections of their own unconscious beliefs and self-concepts. The sources mention that ancient mystery schools actually recognized people who got this. They call them awakened mirrors, people who eventually saw that reality is just consciousness looking at itself, and then they learned how to consciously participate in that reflection. It's not about being better than anyone else. It's just a specific phase of development where the illusion starts to thin out, and the creative power of consciousness becomes, well, obvious, self-evident.
It's the difference between just seeing your reflection and realizing you are the one making the reflection happen, and you can change it.
Exactly. That realization is the key. 2.1 sensory, temporal, and dream shifts. Reality becomes fluid.
Okay, so maybe you've been feeling this stuff, that
Yeah.
weird sensation. Like reality isn't quite solid anymore, like it's becoming more transparent. Far more fluid than everyone else seems to believe, as the source puts it. They say this isn't you losing your mind or just being tired, it's your quantum perception coming online. This feeling of fluidity, the world being less fixed, that's a sign, an indicator of an internal shift. What does coming online actually feel like day to day?
Precisely. This quantum activation can show up in a few key ways. One of the big ones is what the sources call temporal flexibility. Time just doesn't seem to behave normally.
Like time speeding up or slowing down.
Yeah, exactly. You might look at the clock thinking hours must have passed, but it's only been minutes. Or the other way around, you feel like you just started something and boom, hours are gone. And the sources suggest this isn't just, how time feels psychologically. It's presented as your consciousness actually learning to operate outside strict linear time. Your awareness isn't just stuck on this moving point of now. It's starting to access, well, quantum physicists sometimes talk about block time.
Block time, like all time existing at once.
Kind of. The idea that all moments, past, present, future, exist simultaneously. And your consciousness in this view can sort of navigate between them like flipping through pages in a book. And then there are your dreams. That's another big indicator. You might notice your dreams feel incredibly real. More real than waking life, even.
Oh yeah, I've heard people describe that.
According to these principles, there's a reason for that. In your dreams, your pure consciousness isn't as tied down by the physical body's limitations. It's freer to explore these quantum possibility fields. You might literally be visiting alternate versions of your life, gathering info, having experiences from realities where maybe you made different choices.
Wow. So if your dreams feel less like random images and more like genuine alternate lives, that could be it. It's not just a vivid dream, it's your consciousness out there, like exploring, doing quantum field work while you sleep, bringing back data to your waking self.
Yeah.
That's a lot to take in.
It suggests a much deeper level of engagement, even when we're resting. Not just passive dreaming, but active participation in other dimensions, other possibilities. And this exploration isn't just limited to sleep, it bleeds into waking life too. You know those moments when you just zone out, staring into space?
Yeah, happens to me all the time. People ask if I'm
Yeah.
okay.
Well, the sources might say you're actually more present than ever. You might be developing what some researchers call quantum awareness, the ability to perceive multiple layers of reality at once. Like your mental bandwidth is expanding beyond the usual five senses. It's a classic sign of a system recalibrating to a much broader reality. 2.2 glitches in the matrix and quantum intuition.
Okay, let's talk about those glitches in the matrix moments.
Hmm.
Because people really experience these. Times where time seems to skip or stretch or loop in a weird way. Or conversations that feel incredibly familiar, like you've had them before, but you know you haven't. Deja vu on steroids, maybe? Or meeting someone new and they just feel like they know you way better than they possibly could. The source insists these aren't just coincidences or tricks of the mind. This is your consciousness starting to push through the usual walls of perception, revealing the quantum soup underneath.
That's exactly how they frame it. These phenomena are what the sources call quantum bleeds. They see them as evidence that your consciousness is starting to tap into multiple probability streams at the same time.
Like interference, a signal bleeding through from another channel.
Precisely. A momentary overlap from another potential reality, messing with your perceived timeline just a bit. And this leads to what they describe as quantum awareness and even quantum precognition, knowing things before they happen. Not like being psychic in the traditional sense, necessarily, but more like accessing information from these other probability fields before they fully collapse into your 3D experience. Your consciousness, in this expanded state, is kind of running ahead of the linear timeline most people experience.
Okay, what about feeling things more intensely, like other people's emotions, or being sensitive to electricity?
Ah, yes, the electromagnetic sensitivity. The sources frame this not as a disorder, but as an upgrade. It's your nervous system recalibrating, becoming sensitive enough to perceive the subtle energy frequencies, the frequencies that connect everything through quantum entanglement, that underlying web of consciousness. And get this, they even talk about seeing quantum superposition in real time.
Superposition,
Yeah.
like a particle being in multiple places at once. How would you see that?
In mirrors, specifically. The source describes moments where you might glimpse, just for a split second, multiple versions of you existing simultaneously,
Yeah.
until the act of observing collapses them back into the single you that you recognize.
Okay, that's pretty wild. Seeing multiple possibilities of yourself.
They present it as a direct sign. You're literally watching yourself exist in multiple probability states, seeing quantum reality with your own eyes.
So someone's experiencing these glitches, the time slips, the weird deja vu, the sensitivity, maybe even the mirror thing.
Yeah.
That's a takeaway. It means their whole internal system is shifting gears, right?
Yeah.
Moving from seeing reality as fixed and out there to understanding it's more like this dynamic field of probabilities that they're actively shaping, even if they don't realize it yet.
That's the core message. It's a profound internal paradigm shift, manifesting as these often strange, sometimes unsettling external experiences. It's like you're becoming aware of the holographic nature of things. Reality isn't just watched, it's co-created. Consciousness isn't just in the universe, it's what's organizing it. Each glitch is like a little nudge, the universe saying, hey, pay attention, it's not as solid as you think. 2.3, preparation and dissolution.
Yeah.
The chrysalis of consciousness.
Okay, this next part really reframes hardship in a way I wasn't expecting. Many of us, probably most of us, have gone through really tough times, feeling totally isolated, relationships ending painfully, jobs falling apart, money stress, just overwhelming challenges. We usually see these as, bad things, setbacks, failures, maybe even punishments. But these sources flip that completely. They say, every single challenge you faced wasn't random hardship, it was quantum preparation. That changes everything about how you might look back at your struggles, doesn't it? It turns them from dead ends into, strategic training exercises.
It's a really crucial reinterpretation, and yeah, it deserves a close look. These intense experiences, the ones that often feel like suffering, they're presented as deliberately creating the electromagnetic conditions necessary for your consciousness to develop quantum jumping capabilities.
Creating the conditions? How?
The analogy they use is powerful. A caterpillar going into a chrysalis. The caterpillar's form literally dissolves, right? Becomes this biological goo before it rebuilds itself into a butterfly, following a completely new blueprint it never knew as a caterpillar. Your difficult experiences, they argue, served a similar purpose. They systematically broke down old structures, old beliefs, old identities to build the internal wiring, the consciousness infrastructure needed for this higher level quantum operation.
Wow, so the breakdown was necessary for the breakthrough.
Exactly. And they even reframe depression in this context, not as a mental illness primarily, but as dimensional transition sickness.
Dimensional transition sickness.
Yes, that's the term they use, suggesting it's this profound, difficult period where your consciousness is literally migrating, moving from a 3D linear identity to a quantum multidimensional one. And the old system, the old brain patterns, the old emotions just can't handle the shift initially, leading to this temporary but intense system instability.
And those times when nothing seems to be happening, when you feel stuck in waiting.
That waiting period, often felt as stagnation or like you're being punished, is described as vital incubation, necessary downtime. Time for your whole system, your mind, body, energy field to stabilize and prepare, to get ready to handle the massive implications of consciously creating your reality without, freaking out or fragmenting.
So looking back,
Yeah.
those struggles, those dark times, weren't random attacks. They were part of a curriculum, a cosmic boot camp designed to get you ready for this, for expanded awareness. It puts a whole different spin on things. Gives them meaning, maybe?
It potentially offers a profound sense of purpose to even the hardest chapters, yes. As if your nervous system was being meticulously rewired, upgraded to handle these higher frequencies needed for quantum jumping. And this preparation is crucial because, as the source points out, most people's systems probably couldn't handle the raw, unbuffered realization that they create their reality.
It would be too much. Too destabilizing.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
It could short-circuit the system, lead to fragmentation. This whole preparation phase ensures your energy field stabilizes, your identity expands beyond just the individual ego, and you learn to recognize yourself as something more fundamental, pure consciousness animating a body. It's a necessary tempering process, making sure you're resilient enough, coherent enough to wield this kind of awareness responsibly. 3.1 Frequency and Coherence. The art of tuning in.
Okay, so let's say the preparation's done or underway. How do we actually start doing this consciously, engaging with these mechanics? The sources make this really key distinction.
Yeah.
Your brain doesn't create consciousness. Your brain receives consciousness. Like it's a biological antenna, a quantum antenna tuning into specific frequency ranges of infinite possibility. And this, they say, is why things like affirmations or visualization sometimes don't work or even backfire. Because you're trying to change reality from within the current reality instead of recognizing that alternate realities already exist and you just need to tune into them. That's a subtle shift, but it feels huge, doesn't it? We're not making it happen. We're tuning in to where it's already happening.
That is precisely the core mechanic they describe. Frequency adjustment. And the key to doing that effectively is achieving coherence.
Coherence. What does that mean in this context?
It's a state where everything aligns. Your thoughts, your emotions, your actions, all in sync. Even your heart and your nervous system are resonating at the same unified frequency. This creates what they call a coherent observer, a consciousness that's so unified, so clear, so unwavering that the quantum field just responds instantly, precisely.
Like sending out a really clear signal.
Exactly. They use the laser analogy, which is quite good here. Regular light, like from a bulb, is incoherent. Photons going everywhere, scattered, diffuse. But a laser, its light is coherent. All the photons move together in perfect unison, and that coherent light is incredibly powerful, can cut through steel.
So coherence gives your consciousness that laser-like focus and power.
That's the idea. And crucially, how do you achieve this coherence? The sources are clear. It happens through relaxation and allowing, not through pushing, forcing, struggling, or desperation.
Which is usually how we try to make things happen.
Right. But those forceful states, they say, create electromagnetic chaos. It scrambles your signal instead of making it clear. You become like radio static instead of a clean broadcast. True coherence comes from letting go of the need for a specific outcome and instead focusing on embodying the feeling, the frequency of the reality you want to experience, as if it's already here.
So you stop trying to become worthy of success or happiness or whatever it is. You just recognize you already are that at your core. And then you adjust your inner frequency, your feeling state, to match that truth. And by doing that, you just naturally tune into the reality where that's already your experience.
That's the essence of it. You allow yourself to receive it rather than striving to create it from a place of lack.
It's shifting from striving to just being
Henry.
alive.
Precisely. It's about remembering who you truly are beneath the layers of conditioning and learning to operate from that inherent state of wholeness, of coherence. Your highest timeline version isn't about achieving perfection down the road. It's about becoming fully real right now, letting go of the performance, relaxing into the quantum truth of who you are. That recognition, that relaxation into your true frequency, that's the switch. 3.2, letting go of the old you. The quantum shift requires dissolution.
Okay, but if we're genuinely operating on these new coherent frequencies, what happens to the old stuff, the old patterns, the old identity we used to be? The sources are really blunt about this. The quantum shift only happens when you let go of the old you. And they don't mean just improving the old you, like adding a coat of paint. They mean allowing the old you to literally stop existing as a probability in the quantum field. That sounds drastic, like a complete dissolution, a fundamental letting go of who we thought we were.
It is described as a profound process. They call it quantum decoherence. The old self, with all its energy patterns, its limiting beliefs, its baggage, it dissolves. So the new coherent self can emerge. And this process, they acknowledge, is often experienced as what mystics call the dark night of the soul.
Ah, the dark night. Usually sounds pretty terrifying.
It can feel intense, yes. But here it's reframed, not as a breakdown, but as a breakthrough. A necessary period where your consciousness has to expand beyond its old, comfortable, but limiting boundaries. Modern neuroscience even talks about something similar, sometimes called a neural gap. That space between when old brain pathways die off and new ones form. It kind of aligns with this idea of dissolution and emergence.
So the dissolution is like a collapse point. One reality has to end for the new one to start.
Exactly. They use the old saying, you can't pour new wine into old wineskins. The old you, with all its ingrained limitations and fears, has to literally dissolve at a quantum level. So the new, expanded, quantum-capable you can emerge. And so the universe can then reorganize itself around this new coherent identity you're holding. It's like a deep energetic cleanse, a total reset.
That idea,
Yeah.
the old you literally ceasing to exist as a probability, it definitely feels scary, couldn't it? Like dying, in a way.
Yeah.
How do the sources suggest people handle that fear, that resistance to letting go of who they've always known themselves to be, even if that old self wasn't happy? It was familiar.
That's a very real point. The ego, the conditioned self, absolutely perceives this dissolution as a threat, as death. But the sources really emphasize this isn't punitive, it's liberation. The dark night feels intense precisely because it's the shedding of everything that isn't truly you. All the borrowed beliefs, the layers of trauma, the identities you picked up from others or from society. The true self, the quantum identity, can only shine through once those layers decohere, dissolve away.
So the old you doesn't just evolve slowly into the new you.
Not exactly. It's more like the old you dissolves, and the new you emerges from a completely different level of consciousness, unbound by the old rules. This letting go isn't just a nice spiritual idea. They frame it as a quantum necessity. It's required to access these higher dimensions of experience. It allows your soul, your core essence, to remember its true, unlimited nature. It's presented as the ultimate act of self-love, really. Choosing your authentic self over clinging to a familiar but ultimately false and limited identity. 3.3 Quantum entanglement. Beyond the illusion of separation.
Okay, let's talk connection. So many of us feel isolated or struggle to find the relationships, the partnerships we desire. The sources pinpoint what they call a fatal mistake that blocks quantum entanglement, which they describe as this fundamental force connecting all consciousness. And the mistake is trying to connect from separation rather than recognizing that connection already exists.
Wow. Okay, that's subtle, but feels really important. Moving from I need connection to I am connection. It's a fundamental shift in perspective and frequency, yes. The sources explain that neediness, that feeling of lack, of desperate wanting, actually creates quantum interference. It actively repels the very connections you're looking for.
How? Why would wanting connection push it away?
Because quantum entanglement, they explain, operates on compatible frequencies, vibrationally. If you're vibrating at the frequency of needing connection, of lacking connection, you can only really entangle strongly with others who are also vibrating at that same frequency of neediness.
Oh, so you attract connections based on mutual lack, not mutual wholeness.
Exactly, which often leads to unstable, codependent, or ultimately unfulfilling relationships. It's a fundamental mismatch if what you truly desire is a connection based on wholeness. So the correction protocol they suggest sounds simple, but it's profound. Instead of broadcasting the signal, I need to find connection, you consciously shift your broadcast. You start broadcasting, I am already entangled, I am connection.
And then you just allow those inherent connections to rise into your conscious awareness.
You just allow them. Yes, this is what they call resonant allowing. It means maintaining that steady, coherent frequency of already being connected, trusting it, feeling it, and being open to how those connections then show up in your physical reality without trying to force or control the specifics. This practice, they say, transforms that feeling of painful isolation into a peaceful solitude filled with invisible connection. Because, at a deep level, that your connection to all that is, to all consciousness, is unbreakable. It exists at the quantum level, regardless of who's physically around you.
So it's not about pulling people or opportunities towards you through sheer will or longing. It's about cleaning up your own vibrational signal, removing the static of neediness, so you can finally perceive the connections that were already there, waiting in the quantum field.
That's a great way to put it. Removing the static. Understanding that the quantum field responds to energetic alignment, to resonance, not necessarily to emotional intensity or desperation. Wanting something desperately often creates quantum dissonance, a jumbled signal that paradoxically pushes away what you seek. While a calm, knowing awareness of your inherent connection, your inherent wholeness, creates quantum resonance, that allows the entanglement to stabilize, to deepen, and to become consciously experienced in your life.
It really flips the script on finding love or partnership or community. It starts from within,
Yeah.
from feeling complete first.
Exactly. True connection radiates from completeness, not from lack. 3.4 Orchestration synchronicity. Collaborating with cosmic intelligence.
Okay, this next level sounds even bigger. Beyond just attracting specific things, the sources talk about orchestration synchronicity. This isn't just manifesting one thing you want. It's about orchestrating entire reality symphonies, where everything, people, timing, circumstances just lines up perfectly. Like a cosmic symphony producing miracles. That sounds, well, miraculous. Like
Yeah.
the universe itself is your collaborator.
That's precisely the framing. It's presented as the remembering of your role as a co-creator with universal intelligence. Synchronicity, those meaningful coincidences, aren't seen as random luck. They're described as the fundamental language through which the universe communicates with conscious beings.
The language of the universe.
That's the idea. And this resonates with work from different fields. Dr. Dean Radin's research, for example, exploring how consciousness seems to influence probabilities, suggesting our inner state can nudge external events. Carl Jung, of course, with his work on synchronicity and the collective unconscious, he noted these meaningful coincidences ramp up when people stop trying to rigidly control everything and align with something deeper. And Dr. Bernard Bittman has researched coincidences, suggesting they happen far more often than chance would allow, pointing towards some kind of organizing intelligence in the cosmos.
So our sources are pulling these threads together.
Yes, they synthesize these ideas and propose that orchestration synchronicity is the next level. It's about becoming a conscious synchronicity generator, actively partnering with this universal intelligence, reaching orchestration mastery, which comes through learning to recognize the patterns, the subtle cues, the nudges, and then consciously aligning your choices and energy with that divine orchestration.
So it's like learning to dance with the universe, letting cosmic intelligence lead the choreography.
A beautiful way to put it, allowing it to choreograph realities that not only fulfill your soul's deepest desires, but also serve the greater good, the evolution of everyone involved.
So following this thread, every miracle or amazing coincidence you've ever experienced wasn't just luck. It was initiated somehow by your own consciousness, maybe operating at frequencies you weren't even aware of. And now the invitation is to become a conscious miracle orchestrator, moving beyond just basic attraction to deliberate co-creation.
That's the potential being presented, and what's really key here is that this orchestration often goes way beyond just your personal wish list. The universe, they suggest, operates on principles of optimization, of serving the whole. So while you might be focused on manifesting, say, a new job, cosmic intelligence might be orchestrating a reality where you get that job, and it connects you with someone who helps heal a collective issue. And it puts you in a place where your unique gifts contribute to the evolution of consciousness in that community.
Wow, so it's multi-layered, serving you and the whole system simultaneously.
Exactly. It's this intricate, beautiful dance where your individual desires get woven into a much larger universal purpose, leading to outcomes far grander, far more elegant than your individual mind could probably ever engineer on its own. 3.5 Timeline Mastery. Your future self is here now.
All right, prepare yourself, because
Yeah.
this next concept really pushes the boundaries. It's properly mind-bending for most of us. The sources reveal that you can consciously communicate with parallel versions of yourself who have already mastered everything you're currently learning.
Hmm.
They insist this isn't just sci-fi fantasy, it's quantum mechanics applied to consciousness. It suggests a totally non-linear way to grow and solve problems, doesn't it? You're not trying to figure things out for the future, you're accessing solutions from the future, right now.
That's the core idea. They call it timeline communication. It posits that your future self, an evolved version of you who's already navigated your current challenges, already mastered what you're struggling with, is literally reaching backward through time to guide you now.
Reaching back through time, like retrocausality.
The concept draws on ideas like retrocausality, yes, the theoretical idea that future events could influence the past. But our sources frame it more as a conscious, energetic interaction happening within your own personal timeline field. And this communication, they say, can show up in ways that seem baffling from a purely linear perspective. Things like inexplicable knowing, where answers or insights just pop into your head fully formed without any logical steps.
Like a download.
Exactly, or getting clear solutions or guidance in dreams, or experiencing technological synchronicities where your devices seem to respond impossibly to your thoughts or needs, almost like they're giving you hints, and even future memory, that distinct feeling of knowing an outcome or sensing an experience before it actually happens physically.
So this isn't about slowly achieving mastery over time.
No, it's framed as timeline integration. You're not climbing a ladder step by step. You are fundamentally a multi-temporal being. You exist across time. You have access to all your developmental stages simultaneously at a quantum level.
So my current limitations, they only exist because I haven't tapped into the me that's already overcome them.
That's the perspective offered. Your limitations persist because you haven't yet consciously accessed the wisdom, the capabilities, the solutions that already exist within your own evolutionary timeline, embodied by your future self. Your future self, from this viewpoint, is constantly broadcasting guidance, encouragement, solutions back to you from the eternal now, trying to help you realize that the success, the healing, the mastery you're seeking isn't something you have to build from scratch over years. It's something you just have to allow yourself to receive by tuning into its frequency, the frequency your future self holds.
This means, get this, every single challenge you're facing right now, every question keeping you up at night, has already been solved by a future version of you. And that future you is actively trying to share the answers right now. That offers a profound shortcut, doesn't it? It could accelerate growth like nothing else.
It suggests a radical acceleration potential, yes, moving beyond linear learning or trial and error problem solving.
You're not alone in your struggles. Your own perfected self is like right there, cheering you on, feeding you the answers.
More than just feeding answers, the communication is described as potentially involving direct consciousness integration, where your current blocks, your limitations, can literally dissolve as you absorb the frequency, the capacities of your own evolved self.
So you integrate their mastery.
That's the idea. It's a profound shift from feeling like you're struggling alone down here to consciously collaborating with your own highest, already evolved intelligence. It completely redefines personal growth. It becomes an act of remembering, of integrating rather than striving and acquiring. Now, it's really important to understand our sources stress this isn't just about individual growth spurts. We are apparently living through a really unique time, an unprecedented period. They call it a cosmic window of accelerated transformation for all of humanity. They argue that various factors, the electromagnetic shifts happening on Earth, the increasing Schumann resonance, the alignment of cosmic cycles are all converging, creating this environment that dramatically boosts our ability to influence reality through conscious self-perception. They call this convergence the consciousness convergence.
Okay, unpack that a bit. Schumann resonance, cosmic cycles.
Right, so the Schumann resonance, briefly, is like the Earth's natural electromagnetic heartbeat. A set of frequencies in our atmosphere. Scientists measure these, of course, but our sources interpret current observations to suggest this resonance is intensifying, becoming more coherent. And they propose this heightened planetary frequency creates a unique energetic field, one that makes it significantly easier for our own individual consciousness fields to achieve coherence and interact more powerfully with the quantum field, to manifest, essentially.
So the planet itself is helping us level up right now.
That's the assertion. And they emphasize this isn't just a slow, gradual background trend. It's described as a specific, time-bound opportunity, a window.
Time sensitive. meaning it won't last forever.
That's the implication. The universe, in a sense, is telling you that you must quantum jump now.
Must. Why must?
Because, they argue, the old reality structures are dissolving anyway, and at an accelerated pace.
So it's like jump to the new operating system before the old one crashes completely.
That's a decent analogy, yes. It implies a certain urgency, a critical moment for humanity to collectively step up and embrace these innate abilities. This window of optimal conditions where the planetary energy is so supportive is seen as temporary, meaning individuals who tune into this now, who apply these principles of the observer mirror, can potentially make shifts in their lives, manifest changes that might otherwise take years, even decades, of conventional effort.
It's like an open invitation with an RSVP date. Step into this new way of being while the conditions are perfect.
Exactly. They mention things like solar activity generating frequencies that might enhance our sensitivity to synchronicity, boost coherence, and the collective awakening itself, just the sheer number of people starting to question reality, is creating what Rupert Sheldrake called morphic fields. Fields of shared information and consciousness that make these abilities, like orchestration consciousness, far more accessible than they've been for potentially thousands of years.
So ignoring this now, delaying, it could mean missing the easiest opportunity.
That's the suggestion. Neglecting these insights during this optimal window could potentially delay not just your own evolution, but maybe collective progress too. The conditions are described as exceptionally ripe right now. 4.2, your role in collective evolution. Anchoring new realities.
Okay, so what does this mean for us then? Not just me, myself, and I, but collectively. My personal deep dive, my transformation, it's not just for me. It's presented as my contribution to a collective consciousness evolution that's happening to humanity right now. That really elevates personal growth, doesn't it? It makes it almost like a vital service to the whole.
Absolutely. The sources strongly emphasize this collective aspect. Each person who masters conscious reality selection, who learns to quantum jump effectively, becomes, in their words, a transmission point for quantum possibilities that others couldn't access alone.
A transition point, like broadcasting the possibility.
Exactly. Your individual transformation sends out ripple effects in the collective field, making it easier energetically for everyone else who's open to it to also make those shifts, to access those higher frequencies. They use some pretty evocative language here, describing you as potentially becoming a walking quantum transmitter, radiating coherence, a human laser, bringing focused harmony to chaotic fields, a synchronicity generator, constantly inviting divine alignment into the collective, an orchestration ambassador, helping guide reality symphonies that benefit many, a quantum connector, bridging others to the unified field, and ultimately a bridge, a living bridge between the old paradigm of limitation and lack and the new paradigm of unlimited co-creation and abundance.
Wow, that's quite a job description.
It is. But importantly, they stress it's not about becoming superhuman or developing weird powers in a sci-fi sense. It's about becoming fully human for the very first time. Operating from your true, unlimited quantum nature, free from the old conditioning. Your personal mastery, your quantum shift isn't just personal gain. You're actively anchoring the new reality template for others to access.
Anchoring the template, like making it real and available in the collective consciousness.
Precisely. Making these abilities, these ways of being, not just esoteric concepts, but socially acceptable, practically applicable possibilities for future generations. They even suggest children being born now might operate with these abilities much more naturally, partly because the template is being anchored by those awakening now.
So my personal journey, your personal journey listening to this, it's not just navel-gazing. It's actually a vital part of this huge collective awakening, kind of cosmic responsibility.
That's exactly how it's framed. It strengthens the whole network, makes the path clearer, easier, more accessible for everyone coming behind or alongside you.
Every time I manage to shift my frequency, choose a better feeling reality, I'm helping the whole.
According to these sources, yes.
Oh.
Every successful shift, every conscious alignment with a higher timeline, creates these tiny but significant changes in the collective field, like weakening the grip of that old collective hypnosis, the belief in scarcity, separation, powerlessness. It's a collective remembering, facilitated one conscious individual at a time, bringing us all closer to a future where these abilities aren't seen as extraordinary, but simply as our natural birthright. Hashtag tag tag had outro.
Wow. Okay. What an incredible deep dive that was. Right into the heart of reality itself and our role in, well, creating it. We went from seeing reality as this observer mirror reflecting our inner state, all the way to consciously collaborating with the universe through orchestration synchronicity. That's quite a journey. We looked at the signs, the subtle clues that your own quantum activation might be happening. We dug into the mechanics, frequency, coherence, letting go of the old you, and finally saw how deeply our individual journey connects to this massive collective evolution happening right now.
I think the absolute core takeaway here is that fundamental shift in identity from feeling like a victim, tossed around by circumstances, to recognizing your inherent nature as a conscious co-creator. And again, this isn't just wishful thinking, it's presented as recognizing your natural ability, your inherent capacity to collapse infinite potential into your actual lived experience just by aligning your consciousness frequency. You're not really becoming something new. You're remembering what you've always been, just shedding the layers of forgetting.
So what does all this mean for you, listening right now? The sources suggest the universe has literally been waiting for eons, for this moment, for humanity to start remembering its multidimensional creative power. And today, for those who are ready to hear it, that waiting can end. Today can be the day that quantum shifting stops feeling complicated or impossible and starts feeling simple. Because maybe, just maybe, you finally understand the underlying principle. It's about you, your perception, your frequency.
And the question really isn't if these abilities will become commonplace for humanity. The question is whether you, as an individual, will choose to consciously access them now, during this incredibly supportive activation period. Or wait for potentially, well, less easy conditions down the line. Your future self, they're already living it. They're in timelines where quantum shifting, conscious creation, it's as normal as breathing. The only real question left is how quickly your present awareness will decide to catch up, to integrate that mastery, to start living it right here, right now.
We really hope this deep dive has given you some profound insights. Maybe spark your own journey into conscious reality creation. Hopefully it helps you look at your life, your challenges, your potential through a completely new quantum lens. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep allowing your highest, your most vibrant, your most authentic reality to unfold.